Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you've been here before. This is a channel where I use Lenormand and sometimes tarot also to look at what we've got coming in. So I have a book if you'd like to learn to read Lenormand the way that I read it. It's called The Language of Lenormand. On Mondays, I usually hold the book up so that you can see it. The Language of Lenormand. There's also a French edition called Découvrez le langage secret du Lenormand. So if you want it in French, there it is. Um, I have course that you can access. If you hit the more button on this channel about the channel, you'll find access to how to purchase the course. The deck that I use, the Lenormand deck, is my own deck, available through La Panthère Studio. Thank you to everybody who came yesterday to the live. That was fun. I kind of surprised myself that I have enjoyed them so much, which is why I did them 2 Sundays in a row. If you weren't there, you can actually see the replay, but I solicited questions from the audience, and there were great questions both last week and this week. And so I enjoyed it so much that I stayed a half hour extra both days. So I did it for an hour and a half each time. And I'll probably do that again, maybe once a month, because, I want to be able to be answering the actual questions that you want to know the answers to. Um, I guess I should say all the obligatory things that one should say. Please do like this video if it's something that you like. Please do share it. Tell your friends about the channel if you think it's something that they would enjoy. Hype would help. I mean, I guess the hype um, causes the algorithm to send the video out to more viewers. So if you could do that, that would be great. Political channels like this one are a little bit um, suppressed, channel banned a little bit, shadow banned a little bit. So if you could do that, hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when I'm going to be doing a live. I'm usually here Mondays, Wednesday nights with Lena from Lena Down Under. And then I usually come on Fridays and then a day on the weekend. So that's how often I'm here. Um, I thought today I would look again at the month of April. Um, the felon is just continues to be crazy as a bed bug. Talking at his news conference or his press conference about becoming president of Venezuela, that would be a good way to spend his post presidency, would be to be president of Venezuela. Nobody invited him to do that. Uh, he's talking about cutting the power grid in Iran if they don't come to the table or if he doesn't like what they propose, etc. He's just, he talked about the 25th Amendment. So I think he knows that the buzzards are circling the carcass being his. So I think it'll be interesting just to look at the month since it's almost April 1st. Uh, I think what I'm going to do is what I did the last time I did this sort of overarching month-long thing. I'm going to pull a tarot card for each week of April, and then I'm going to clarify with Lenormand. Uh, if you like the way that I use the two together, you should know that on Tuesdays, I'm over at Substack, and I have an article that I write um, there. The Substack's very popular, and so if you want to, you know, absorb my written words, if you prefer that to the visual, or if you want to do both, you're welcome over there, Substack. So, all right. So the first thing we're going to do is pull tarot. This is from the Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Turian. I'll show you the box. I really, really like this tarot deck. I just find it very deep and um, evocative. So I'm just going to pull. I'll let you watch me pull everything. Move that back so I have more room on my table. I have a little tiny table that I work on. Okay, so first will be the tarot for week 1 of April, week 2 of April, week 3 of April, and week 4 of April. And and then I'm going to pull 3 clarifiers for each of the months, each of the tarot cards. And really, this is an eye towards, how the month will be for us, but also how it will be for the felon. It promises to be a pretty wild ride. That's what the astrologers say. So, all right, I'm just going to hold the cards up as I turn them over. So, for the first week of the month, April, the tarot card is the King of Wands. And wands represent actions. And the fact that we have a court card here makes me think that the felon, will be running around doing stuff. Again, all of it meant to distract from the Epstein files, of course. So he's got his finger in all kinds of pies, and that's part of the freneticism and the chaos of April. So I pulled 3 clarifiers for this King of Wands card, and they are, oops, the Tower, the Sun, and the Wit. So I will say this, if he indeed, this card represents him running around, trying to make laws and put his name on money and everything else, um, I think it will just what point out, make clear like the sun is shining on it, the fact that he is more and more and more isolated. More and more people are leaving MAGA. People are leaving Congress in droves, saying that they won't run for reelection in 26. Republicans, I'm talking about, because they know they're going to lose. And more and more, he looks like a man alone on an island. That will be abundantly clear. And this is the card for arguments. There's going to be a lot of infighting, a lot of arguments amongst the people in Congress, of course, but I think also in his cabinet. You know, there are people who are pro-war in Iran. There are other people in the cabinet who are against it. Um, I think there will be a lot of infighting, jockeying for position, etc. And he is at the head of it, just creating chaos. So I see that's what we will be looking forward to in that first week. And that's no surprise because he's off to a running start. The second week, we have the Page of Wands. Now, the King of Wands, which is what we just had, this is somebody who has, they're king of all they survey, right? Because he's the president, he can do whatever he wants. The page is interesting because a page is someone who is learning, who is not adept at what they're doing. They haven't had the experience or the education or developed the wisdom to know what they're doing. And it's still wands. So I feel like this will be a lot of missteps, trying one thing out, that doesn't work, try another thing out in the second week. And the clarifiers for that are the moon, the key, and the young man. This young man energy is kind of headstrong, careless, even, I would say, um, which is what the felon is going to look increasingly like. Um, his reputation, this is the card for reputation, and then the key. The keys answer questions. So I feel like in that second week, I don't think this is good for him. I think he's going to look more and more hot-headed, more and more self-serving. Now we've got all of this information about war-related decisions being made in order to enrich him and his family. So I think that will become more and more discussed. Third week, we have the strength card, right? And so this is always generally speaking, it's a lion. And then generally speaking, it's a young woman who um, has tamed him or has an agreement with him so that he doesn't kill her and she doesn't have to be aggressive or violent towards him. Strength card is a good card for that third week. Clarifiers, though, are mice, birds, and dog. It's upside down. I think we will need strength because this is the next card. I think that his mental acuity is definitely on the decrease with these mice. This is the card for sickness. And I think people will have to there will be conversations and people will have to make decisions about who's going to be loyal to him and who's not going to be loyal to him. So I think it's interesting that the strength card is at the top of the line because I think here we're talking about people in government, people in his cabinet, people on his side of the aisle having to make some decisions about whether they want to stay loyal to him. And I think what will happen is that loyalty will uh, be eroded. Remember that these next 2 weeks, Republicans anyway, are not in Congress. They're in their home districts for the Easter break, and they will be hearing earfuls from people, about the TSA situation, the ICE situation, the war situation, immigration situation, and last but definitely not least, the Epstein situation. And so I think that what we will see in April is lots of conversations, of course, a lot of them behind closed doors, about how much more loyalty can be extended to the felon. So we may see a lot more support fall away from him in that third week. And a lot of it will be as a result of what he does in the first 2 weeks. Our final tarot card for the month of April is the King of Cups. Interesting that we've had one major and three court cards. Now, the King of Cups is about emotion. So, he moves from saying a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff that's erratic. And this, I mean, the King of Cups, I don't love it for him. I mean, I don't really love it for us either because uh, he's going to be moving from more of an emotional place than anything else. And the clarifiers are, well, see, yeah. And the clarifiers are the snake, the scythe, and the fox. I think it will be because of that third week that I just spoke about, where I said there was going to be a lot of conversation amongst Republicans about whether it's time to jump ship, get off the Trump train. I think that by the following week, he will be feeling all types of ways about the fact that people are going to make it very clear that he is a problem that they want to cut themselves loose from. This is very interesting. Now, the fox, I think that there are people who are going to hedge their bets. In other words, they might not declare disloyalty to him, but they will be disloyal to him. In terms of things like feeding information to the press, for example. Now, I can mirror this card, this devious fox card, with this King of Wands energy, which is the felon. So I think he will be facing backstabbing and betrayal by the end of April on a pretty grand scale. Uh, that fourth line is not a good line. So now let's look at his health. And this one, I will just use Lenormand for this. We want to know how the felon's health will be during the month of April. I know there are lots of um, people who do this kind of work who have speculated that this month could be another one of those exit points, right? I mean, we have multiple exit points in our life, periods where um, like a door, a portal kind of is opened and we can exit the world, like we get in a car accident or we get sick or any number of things. But uh, they have indicated that April is going to be another one of those exit points potentially. And so let's just look specifically at his health. So in Lenormand, the card that we use for health is the tree. So I'm going to look specifically for the tree. And we want to know how the felon's health will be this month. And then finally, I think I'll look and see whether there'll be any progress on the Epstein situation. How will the felon's health be this month? Okay, so we're going to just flip until we get to the tree. Cards are not generally upside down, so I don't know what that's about. Hmm. I guess it's just the way that I shuffled them when I did that bridge shuffling, which I rarely do with these cards. That's what happened there. I know I'm being slow because I don't like the cards upside down. You're not meant to read Lenormand upside down. So I'm just fixing them as I go. And remember, we're looking for the tree. That's the card that will represent the health of the felon during the month of April. We see that his political situation gets more precarious, but what about his health? Okay, so this is the card for his health. We're going to put that in the middle. And then we're taking the two cards that come before it. And then the two cards that are left come after. And I think I'll pull some clarifiers for these. Then I'm going to pull a final three to act as sort of a postscript. Okay, so we have the house, we have the mice, we have the tree that stands for health, we have the child, and we have the bear. So, the overarching thing I want to say about April and his health is this. Um, the house card stands for the body, your physical body. And I can mirror it with this final card, which is the bear. And I think that his physical body will increasingly become overwhelmed by his own biology. This is a card of overwhelm. And I say that because the second card is the card for sickness, which is mice. So he will continue to deteriorate. I don't know whether he'll have some sort of like illness, like, sickness, like flu or something like that. But this is the card for that. And I will say that it is something new that crops up because that's the child. So I do think he will continue to deteriorate in the way that he's deteriorated, but he may suffer from some sort of acute um, health issue. And that would be, like the flu or bird flu or whatever. Of course, we have the tree in the center. Okay, so we're going to go back to this house that stands for his physical self. And the clarifiers are the rider, clover, and the coffin. So if we're saying that this is his body will be sending messages that, as we say in the Black church, soon and very soon, it's like a refrain from a hymn, soon and very soon, or spiritual, soon and very soon. I don't think I need to translate this. Soon and very soon. So he will have increasing indicators that he is not long for this world. We also will have those same indicators about him, that it'll be clear. Um, the second card, this is the card for illness, and also decrease in something. Well, decrease in what? He will have a decrease in key, bouquet, and stars. So I see why they're saying that April will be a difficult month for him. These are all good cards. The key. Um, it's synonymous really with the sun. This would be saying he has all the answers, he's got it all figured out, the war is over, um, the economy is terrific, all of that. And that he gets praise and honor for that, and his name goes down in posterity, except we have at the head of the line the mice, which is to say that the chances of any of this happening are gnawed away at in the way that mice do. So this is wishful thinking, and this is the reality. Um, Here we have tree. This is the actual card for his health right in the center. Clarifiers are the ring, the young man, and the anchor. He just cannot get past the idea that time waits for no man, including him, and that he wants to be perceived as forever young. I guess that's why he does that dancing that he does, whatever that is. Time waits for no man, and his health is dragging him down. These two can be mirrored with each other. His health is being dragged down. As I said, some new ailment comes up, because I can mirror this with those mice. Something new comes up, and the clarifiers are cross, sun, and then stork. So I'll just say that something new comes up. Whatever it is really unpleasant, could very well be painful, really painful, right? This is a card for like inflammation, pain that's sharp, that kind of thing. But he gets better. He gets better. And then the final line, the fifth card, is this bear. And when I looked at it at first, remember when I did the line of five, it's the last card in the line of five, I was able to mirror it with the house, which says that his body is being overwhelmed by his own physiology, his own excesses in terms of the way that he eats, the fact that he doesn't sleep, the fact that he has a horrible temper. All of that is overwhelming. Oh, and look who showed up. In case we were wondering who we were talking about, there he is. And the other clarifiers are the letter and the site. I think that he gets some sort of news about his health, like a diagnosis that is, you know, of this sentence. You get my drift. Because I can mirror this very last card with the body. Well, no, I should go like this. I think this will be a very bad month for him health-wise. Do I see him no longer with us? No, I don't really think I can go that far. I think he gets sick and recovers, but I also think he gets bad news about his health. Uh, Bad news meaning that, again, he's not going to be here forever. I pulled a final three, sort of as a clarifier. Is there anything else I can say about his health in the month of April? And we have the tower, we have the ship, and we have the birds. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure, but what he might have to be hospitalized. This can be hospital, and can be, a conveyance taking him to the hospital. And that would absolutely start tongues wagging, start meeting to think about things like the 25th. At the press conference that he had, nobody brought up the 25th, but he brought it up. So he may very well have some premonition about being 25th Amendment. So he could take a trip to the hospital at the end of the month that could lead to discussion about what to do with grandpa. So I don't see him being felled by something, and that's the ultimate thing. No, I think that his health goes sliding down, could culminate at the end of the month with a hospitalization. Um, but I think that he will still be with us by the end of April because I don't see anything indicating otherwise. All right. Then finally, I thought I would look to see whether there's anything new on the Epstein front that will be presented to us in the month of April. So I think what I'll do is I'll use the letter for that, and that will stand for the files. Okay. I'm just shuffling the cards back in so that they're all mixed up. And I don't have to bridge shuffle and end up with them upside down again. Epstein files. Okay, so we're looking for the letter, and that's going to stand for the files. Okay, here we go. This stands for the Epstein files, and we want to know whether we'll hear anything new and different in the month of April. I'm going to pull clarifiers on everything. Okay, so we have the woman, the young man, the files, Clover, and the dog. So I think that this card in this particular reading is standing for Pam Bondi, who is on thin ice, all the way around. And uh, she's tried to play a very aggressive, rude, bullying kind of game with Congress. Now, the files are in the center. We have Clover, and I can mirror Clover with this aggression. I think this aggression of hers is going to end up being short-lived. Clover's a great card, but one of the things that it means is something that is short as opposed to long. And I don't think that this attitude of hers is going to serve her in the long run as far as Congress is concerned. She will have some decisions to make. I can mirror her with this card about how loyal she herself should be to the felon. Because we know the felon turns on everybody. She, like everybody in his circle, is just sure as a heart attack that she won't be on the chopping block, that he will never turn on her. That's what she thinks. But he'd turn on anybody. And she could very well find herself incentivized to turn on him. So she's asking herself, should I continue with this loyalty? I mean, she could be thrown in jail for contempt, I guess, but not really, because who would that be referred to? Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche, of course, is her second in command, and he's not going to put her in jail. But she really risks some long-term damage done to her if she sticks with him. And so she's weighing the odds of that. All right. So we'll stick with her for a second and we will look at the clarifiers. We have the house, the moon, and the scales. Okay. This actually says pretty much the same thing that the horizontal said. Pam Bondi is really thinking about her relationship with the felonious inhabitant of the White House and weighing the reputational damage that is being done to her that she can't recover from. So she's really weighing, do I turn on him? Do I not turn on him? Which is better? She doesn't know. So that's interesting. Um, Here is this aggressive energy of hers I'm not gonna, you can't talk to me like that. And whatever. I'm not giving you anything, whatever, all that aggressive stuff. And the clarifiers are the scythe, the fish, and the snake. This attitude, um, unbecoming of an attorney general, I might hasten to add, is hurting her in a zillion ways. This is a card for like a lot, in many, many ways. And she's gonna get caught by this snake. Um, Trouble's coming for her because of her noncompliance, because of her covering up. Remember, this reading is about the Epstein files. So she's going to find herself in a world of hurt. For the longest time, if you recall, I would read on her and I thought, how is she skating free? I don't see anything bad happening to her. But the last couple of times that I have read on her, I just think she's skirting way too close to the edge, not to be damaged if she doesn't uh, turn on him. And of course, she'll be damaged if she does turn on him. So, six of one, half dozen of the other, she is pretty much um, jammed up. Okay, here are the files, and the clarifiers are the bouquet, the star, and the bear. Okay, here's what I think about the files. I mentioned that there are other countries, and I wouldn't exclude Iran, but certainly Russia, certainly Israel, who have access to information in those files. They know who the players are, and they also know the details. I think we will find out a lot more than we've been provided by the Justice Department. We will be gifted um, blessed with compromise on everybody involved that is, electronic in nature. This is like computer stuff. Uh, and it will be about the felon and his friends. So I think we will get a lot more information, and it will not be from the Justice Department, it will be from other entities who have that information. The fourth card is Clover, and the clarifiers are clouds, lily, and cross. So, hmm, I keep saying that Clover is a very thick, fast card. I think we will get information. I think it'll feel like, whoa, that's great. But it won't be um, everything. And probably whatever we get will leave us with more questions than answers. But even as it's leaving us with more questions than answers, it will be really disturbing. It'll disturb our peace. It'll create pain for our peace of mind. Now, of course, if you're reading any of these files and you're keeping track of, you know, some of the online sleuths that are going through them, that's already happened. We will not get everything that there is to get, but we will get enough to say, oh my God, what we knew before only scratched the surface. And I think this will be courtesy of uh, other places besides the DOJ who will give us access to this information. I have to sneeze. Sorry. Third time's a charm. There we go. Okay. Thank you. I could hear you all say, God bless you. All right. The fifth card was the dog. And remember, when I first looked at it in the horizontal, I could mirror it with Pam and draw the conclusion that she is trying to decide how loyal she should be to him. Now we're going diagonally, so I'm looking at it with different cards, and the clarifiers are the sun, the stork, and birds. And remember that the topic of this reading is the Epstein files. I'm wondering now if, uh, for example, Massey will do what he said he's going to do. I mean, he's been saying he's going to do it, he's going to do it, he's going to do it. He hasn't done it, which would be to read the files, read the names of people in the files who've been redacted. This speaks to that, I feel like. This is sort of shedding light on, making public, showing us what we've been waiting for. So this would be good. And it would create a lot of buzz, a lot of talk about whom? This is the last card. I can mirror with the first card, Pam, and her mishandling of all of this. Now I'm going to pull three more just as a postscript. Okay. So we have the young woman, we have the tree, and we have crossroads. So this is, the victims, right? This is taking like really a long time. Am I right? It just feels like it's forever. It was December before Christmas that we were supposed to have all the files, and we only have half of the files. It's been taking too long. So I do feel like in April, there will be some twist, um, some, for lack of a better term, alternate route to getting the information out and publicizing it. So it could be Massey doing that. It could be information that we find out about Zorro Ranch. But whatever it is, it will be very bad news for Pam. So watch for that this month. Um, I think, you know what? Let's look at her specifically for the month of April. What specifically? I mean, we know certain things. We know that her feet are being held to the fire. She's tried to sort of bully her way out of it. We know that that's not perceived as a good look on her on the part of the Congress. And we know that the felon is not happy that she has not managed to shield him to the degree that he thinks that she should shield him. So she's got it coming at her from all sides. And so I just want to know um, how she will do in the month of April. Well done to everybody who was out at the protests on Saturday. Um, the numbers were huge. I do like the fact that they are starting now, the organizers are starting to talk about next steps and acknowledging the fact that while it's great to have that great public um, response and have that be visible, and it's great for morale, and it absolutely sends a message to the felon and to um, government officials and to each other, that the sentiment is intense and growing. That's all good, but there are more steps that need to be taken, and I'm seeing some of those steps being talked about now. So I think that's really good. I know that a lot of the protests had there would be representatives from organizations that are sort of neighborhood, more local entities so that people could sign up to get involved in that way, like helping with voter registration or working at the polls or any number of things. So I hope people availed themselves of those opportunities. All right, let's look at the future of Pam in the month of April. So I'm looking for that older woman. There she is, popped right up. So I might draw clarifiers, but I mean, these are clear. So we have the star, we have the clouds, we have Pam in the middle, we have the files, and we have the book. So I'll say a couple of words on these and then I'll draw some clarifiers. Her future, that's the star, is uncertain. Isn't that what I just said? So there we go. Her future is uncertain. She's in the center. Is her future uncertain? Because of the Epstein files and the things in them that are still being withheld. So I'll just pull, I don't know, not clarifiers on all of them, maybe, but on her for sure. I ended up pulling more than I thought I would. So I pulled on clouds. We already said that the star is her future, and she knows that it's uncertain. Clarifiers for that are the house, the cross, and the sun. Why is her future uncertain? Because the inhabitant of the White House is causing her no end of pain. Pain that feels like a sunburn, except worse. Pam here in the center has clarifiers of the scale, fish, and woman. So she knows that she may be head of the DOJ, but justice is coming for her. Uh, the emotion around this whole issue, what issue? The Epstein files, the women, is growing, and the injustice of the way that the Justice Department has treated these people is going to be front and center this month. Fourth card is the letter. Clarifiers are stork, tower, and ship. I have said this before. I don't know. I don't know that she'll get fired, but I feel like she might quit. I feel like this is like a letter of resignation and that she will have gotten some offer from some overseas entity and take the offer. Um, yeah, I think she could say, okay, and quit before she's fired. Or if not, quit before she's fired. You know how Trump will sometimes give you like a different job than the one you had, like he did with Christy Noam. I mean, that sort of nothing job that was created for her. It could be something like that, that she is allowed to save face by being given some other position. But I feel like she's going to want to make that money, and I've always seen her um, being tempted to go overseas. But I also have always seen it as a Middle Eastern country, and the Middle East is a powder keg now. So I don't know. All right. The fifth card was the book, right? And this is about things that are not out yet, information that's not out that will really affect what becomes of her. Clarifiers are the bear, clover, and birds. I really think she is in talks about her future. So I can mirror the first and last card. She's in talks with people about her future. Um, she wants to come out on top in this whole thing and be lucky, so to speak. She doesn't want to go to jail. She doesn't want to have to be fined. She doesn't want any of that. So I think she's in talks that are, of course, secret also. This stands for that. Because I think she sees the lay of the land and it doesn't look good for her. Hmm, interesting. All right, I think I'll leave it there. Tomorrow, if you're looking for me, you can find me over on Substack, where I will write. Um, it's worth subscribing to me over there because that's the place that if I do personal readings on, live, that's where that'll be. It won't be here on YouTube. It'll be over there on Substack. So you can subscribe for a month and then unsubscribe if you want. It's $5 per month, 50 for a year, I think. Uh, all right. So that's it for a Monday. I wish you well, and I will see you Tuesday over on Substack. Wednesday, just want to remind you, I will be with our friend Lena from Lena Down Under. If you're not subscribed to her channel, go over and do that. We do a thing we call Worldview 360, where we have a conversation about world events, and it is live. And we love seeing the comments that go by as we talk. Uh, she's Australian, if you don't know, so it's kind of an interesting global perspective that we're able to come to the table with. And it is on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. Eastern. If you're somewhere else, do the math. But anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you back here Wednesday night with my friend Lena. And if you're looking for me tomorrow, again, go over to Substack and you'll find me there. Okay, everybody, take care.